Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is 4th of July for those of us here in the United States. It is our Independence Day. I think it's true that independence roams the world every day. So, welcome, Misfits, to the 498th show. How cool is that? 98th times we've gotten together. I hope everybody's doing amazing. We're going to get started here in a little blessing. But I want you to just take a breath for a second. Just hold on for just a second and just take a little extra breath in, get calm. Realize the joy that you bring to the world. Realize the joy that's available to you. And realize the independence you truly have. No matter the location, no matter the locale, we do live in a world that's pretty amazing, that provides us technology that's designed to advance human creativity, and we get to share in it every day, and today's no different. So I applaud you. I appreciate you. This call will go probably just about an hour because today's heading out day, packing day, heading to the lake for the next week. So we've got 4 teenage boys that's going with me. So I pray that we all wind up back here together in the same car and not somebody strapped to the roof. So with that being said, our resident sayer of blessings, Rhonda.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's get us started right quick. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the feeling this is around family, around distant family, but family. Thank you for bringing us closer together. Thank you for the place that's been provided for us to take down some of the barriers and take off the mask and just peel back the layers and let our true self shine forth without worry or concern or judgment or condemnation. Thank you that you've provided that place here for every one of us to just sit and enjoy and love one another. I thank you for today. I thank you for what it is you'll bring today. I pray protection over Sean and his family as they keep them safe, keep your angels around them, keep them from not wanting the kids or the kids want to kill them, provide them everything they need on their way as he provides for us through you. Thank you so much for that, Father. And just help us to glorify and honor you and send this out into the world, your bright light, your love, your salvation. And we say all this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rhonda. So here's the question for y'all. What's next? I see we got a couple of hands up. Ericka, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Grand risings, everybody. I have a share today.
Awesome.
This is incredible, you guys. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm a little bit stubborn. I'm a little stubborn. And all around me, I've been hearing meditate. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Start journaling, start journaling. And I finally just decided to do it on July 1st because it's the last 6 months of the year. So I started journaling and it felt amazing. It felt really, really good. I write naturally, so it comes easily for me. It was a great feeling. I started meditating very shortly for like a couple times because it's kind of hard when you start out. So this was on the 1st of July. After I started doing my first journal entry, I said, okay, let's meditate, right? Because what a perfect time. Right after you're journaling, you're getting your thoughts out, you're, thinking about things. Let's meditate and start the day. So I started to meditate. And in that moment, I started to feel sad and upset because I had been having like relationship problems and stuff like that. So I had a lot of hurt in my heart. And I wasn't really able to cry the previous days before that. But for some reason, when I was meditating, the emotion that I felt was to cry. So initially I was like, stop it, don't do that. But then I was like, you know what? If this is what's happening, just let it happen. So I started to cry, right? And I spoke to my higher self. All of a sudden, I felt these hands, these arms hugging me. It was like a warmth hugging feeling. And my higher self said to me, "You're okay." And so, of course, that made me cry even harder. And my higher self said to myself, "Do you trust me?" And I was like, "Yes, I do. Yes, I trust you," right? And they said, "Okay, follow me." I said to myself, "Okay, follow me." And instantly I felt like warm, fuzzy, static feeling. Like I couldn't breathe. It was like such an overwhelming feeling. I don't know if I was in another dimension or what the heck was going on. So then now my focus was on was to breathe. And my higher self kept telling myself, "You're okay, breathe, just breathe, just breathe, you're okay." And so I kept my eyes closed and just, breathed and tried to like focus on my heart. And I didn't open my eyes until I felt regained enough. I had to lay down a little bit, and I sat up. And then once I felt like I was okay, I'm centered again, I opened my eyes and the mirror is right in front of me and I'm looking at myself. And it was just a freaking weird out of body experience. I can't even describe it. And so I wrote it down immediately in my journal because I didn't want to lose it. And I had that wave of not being able to breathe again. And ever since that day, right, two days ago, all of these things are aligning and appearing in my life. Things that I've had questions to, like past relationship, that didn't really get closure. All of a sudden he texts me out of nowhere saying that he doesn't hate me and he's so sorry and all these other things. In my current relationship, my boyfriend shows up to the doorstep with 6 dozen roses. Okay, to say he's sorry. I was worried about money. I go into work last night, I got an extra paycheck. Like, when do you ever get an extra paycheck? And my mentor called me last night after not speaking to him for like a couple weeks. That was something that had been on my mind. It's just blowing my mind. I can't wait to see what's next. And it was just such a phenomenal experience. Like, I can't even describe it or put it into words what that felt like. But I spoke to my higher self and I can't wait to see her again. And now it just lets me know that every single thing that happens, it's okay. Like, trust her. She's showing me in the right way.
And there it is. Is it me or can anybody else hear her?
I can't hear her.
Okay. Ericka, can you hear me? Yeah, your sound just went completely out. We can see your smiling face, and there she goes. She'll be back. But how cool is that? How cool is it to hear that story? How cool is it to hear all of this something happening, and I would say it's probably associated with with the journaling, with the slowing of the mind, with the connecting of a higher self, paying attention to the conversations that happen. And here she is back. Let's see if we get her back online here.
Oh no, could you hear me?
Yeah, well, it cut off just the last little bit. You had talked, you had spoke with your mentor, and you're so excited about what's happening with your higher self. You can't wait to see what's happening. So we heard that part, and then all of a sudden your voice went, your picture was there, but your voice went away. And it's happening again. So let's go to Michelle Davis. Good morning, Michelle.
Well, good morning, everyone. I have to say I'm excited that Ericka beat me to raising her hand before me, because that was just an awesome, amazing story. And to see her face it gave me some insight as to probably what I'm going to be spending the day doing. But I need some help. Oh, Lord, do I need some help, y'all. Okay. So my mother is toxic. I say that only because you know how people have selective hearing? Well, she has selective speech. She tells people what she wants. So she has told my brother things, and then, she tells me things about my brother, but not the full story. So it keeps us at bay. I've asked my brother numerous times, hey, you and I need to sit down and talk. Mom is our problem. He refuses to. He just don't want to deal with anything. So, give you a little background there. My parents bought a house 4 years ago. They didn't get a home inspection. She bought it while I was on vacation. I told her, I said, Mom, before you sign any papers, you need to call me. Well, she called me after they got the keys. So they bought a house with foundation problems. Maybe. Probably. And we had a flash flood. Fast forward to this week. We had a flash flood this week. Her house was totally surrounded. Hers and my stepdad's. And underneath the crawl space was totally underwater. And obviously it's left a lot of damage. So the next day I got up. I went over there. We got the garage cleaned out. And I told Mom, I said, I was explaining to her problems that can arise from wet water. And I began explaining these things to her to let her know what was going on, what we needed to look for, blah, blah, blah. And she says, I can't handle anything right now. Just tell me what to do. And I said, well, I'm going to let Jimmy know, my stepdad, so we can figure what we need to do next. Like, I'm not trying to go in and run their lives for them, but, I made phone calls to people I knew, companies, like, what do we need to do? Because insurance isn't going to cover belongings if they stay in a molded mildew home. So I've done all my homework, right? And my mom says, don't tell him anything. He won't understand it. He'll get confused. So, okay, I don't. So we get to work, start doing things. And I told my mom, I said, y'all don't need to be in this house. My stepdad has sarcoidosis. They had mold in their house already before the flood. He just went to the lung doctor last week, and his sarcoidosis is worse in his lungs now. And I told my mom, I said, it's probably because of that house. So I told her the other day, I said, y'all cannot be in this house with the air conditioner running, the doors closed, and the fans on. I said, y'all are just blowing around mold and mildew. So I go over yet. She wasn't expecting me early yesterday morning, and I go in. She's sitting on the couch. Doors are closed, everything. I said, Mom, you cannot do this. I understand, she says. I understand. I said, well, if you understand, then why are you sitting here in this situation? I said, you've got to open these doors. So, long story short, fast forward a little bit. My nephew has lived there. He's only 19. My mom basically raised him because he didn't want to live at his parents' house because his parents had rules. So my mom's like, well, come live with me. And I told him, I said, we need to get all their stuff out. And I said, you got stuff in your bedroom. We need to get it in containers. He says, don't touch my stuff. I'm like, huh? So little conversation continues. And my mom says, which one? My nephew. Okay. We have like 10 loads of laundry to do that was in the garage that was on the floor, which was a mess. My nephew comes over to do his laundry yesterday while we're rushing to get stuff cleaned, right? Using the washer and dryer continuously. He comes over to do his laundry. He's just sitting there outside with us. And I said, well, come on, Adam. I said, I'll help you put your stuff in containers. And I said, we can get it done real quick. I mean, he didn't have a whole lot. My mom says, no, he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't have to do it. This is my house. And I looked at her and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So I come home. I'm like, I got to get away. So I called her yesterday afternoon. I said, Mom, and this is where I kind of feel bad as a daughter with responsibility. I said, Mom, I'm not playing games with y'all. I said, y'all just take care of everything. Y'all know what you're doing. You take care of it. She's like, okay. So I owed her some money because she went to the store for me the other day when she was out. And I went over to drop by and drop the money off. She is laying in the floor with a pillow and a fan blowing on her. She's 3 feet from a fan. And the mold and mildew smell in that house is absolutely ridiculous. I didn't say a word, gave her the money, walked out. So the insurance man was supposed to come last night, but he's coming this morning. She calls me a few minutes ago and she said, I miss you. And she said, I'm going to miss you today. I said, why? She said, well, the insurance man will be here at 10. I said, well, you can take care of it. She goes, oh, I know. She said, I just wanted to let you know I miss you. I'm like, okay. So she proceeds to chit chat. And I said, Mom, please, I just, there's nothing to say. And then I got to thinking about it. So I called her back and I said, do you realize what happened yesterday? And she had me on speakerphone, which didn't bother me. I said, do y'all think I'm coming in just to be bossy and tell y'all what to do? My stepdad goes, yes, I do. Now, I volunteered to tell him what was going on. Let him know the problems that are going to come up with the mold, the mildew, what we had to do to protect all we can. And my mom says, no, you'll confuse him, all this other stuff, right? I'm the bad guy in this situation now because I'm the one that went over there and was all bossy, and now I've abandoned them. And this is a story that'll get told, which I know that goes to addiction to approval. And then this story doesn't bother me because if you've known my mom all my life, or all these years like I have, you'd see right through her, right? But I'm faced with where, my parents' house has fallen down. Do I back out and let their house fall down? Do I have a responsibility, or do I just stay out of it?
Your responsibility is yours, and the responsibility you choose is yours as well. Your ability to respond is your choice. What you do with that response is also your choice. So there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can let people take care of. And the challenge is that we've all experienced a similar story. We can change the names and places, but we've all had these stories where we think we're the one that's going to be the one that could save them, and they don't want the saving. So I would implore you to sit and pray and see where your emotions are and where your response to this is, because things that are obvious are obvious. Cracked walls, mold, mildew, insurance guy coming over. That means there's issues. Are they always waiting on Michelle to come to the rescue? Well, it doesn't help if they don't want the rescue or they resist the rescue, right? I sent you the truck. I sent you the boat. I sent you the helicopter. What the heck are you doing here? Well, I was waiting on God. I sent you the boat. I sent you the helicopter. I sent you the. So you've got to not disengage. You've got to be more focused on you and say, here's my number. Here's my info. Let me know how I can be of service. They're grown adults. Yeah, but they've got some cognitive issues. Then if they can't get help from you, your brother's got to step in. Somebody else has got to step in. You can only do what you do. But if you jump down in the hole and you can't take care of you, then nobody can help. Right? Put your mask on first. Do what you can.
My brother won't jump in.
Uh,
I mean, their house is going to fall down.
Listen, whether your brother does or doesn't isn't up. You can't control that. You can only control your responsibility. And if you're going in to deal with the guilt, to deal with the frustration, to sacrifice yourself, to not be saved, I don't recommend that. I would pay attention, do a list of literally, if somebody came to you with this situation and said, Michelle, I'm in this situation, how would you guide them through it? As the observer, become the observer. What's the pluses? What's the negatives? What's the costs of fixing it? What's the costs of not fixing it? What's the solution? Can you provide it to them in written form and go from there? Because this is a never-ending circle of challenge. And there doesn't seem like there's any way out of it. So you're just going to have to step out of it and go, not my monkey, not my zoo.
But how do I not feel guilty about it?
Well,
I feel a sense of responsibility as the daughter, as the oldest child.
Have you made serious attempts to serve them? Yes. Have they accepted the service? No. At what point now? Listen, imagine if they were a neighbor. I know it's hard to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get what you're saying. If they were a neighbor, not my family, I would definitely be the observer and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're letting their house fall down like that.
Right. So all you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is all you can do. And if they don't accept all that you can do, then you're banging your head against the wall. You're the only one suffering.
And I am. I mean, but Mom calls me this morning and, she's like, well, I don't know what to say to the insurance man. Well, you were there when it happened. Just, what do you want me to tell him? Now all of a sudden it's okay. You want me there?
Yep.
And it's like, no, I'm not playing her game anymore. I'm not.
Right. So
because again, I'm the one that gets hurt. I'm always going to be the bad guy.
Totally get that. So can you begin to realize that you're not the bad guy?
And I know I'm not.
Well, so then who's telling you are?
My old story.
Right. So what would have to change for the old story to realize that you're being taken advantage of?
I don't know. That's where I'm stuck. I mean, last night I'm like, I'm over it. I'm done with it. Planned my day out. I'm like, I'm going to get into action for myself today. I'm really going to focus. And I know that's what I need to do. And that's what I'm going to do. But her calling me this morning, I feel an obligation to be there. And I don't want to feel obligated anymore.
Hey, Michelle, you describe a lot of what I have gone through and sometimes go through, to the point now that for years, my family went on a big family beach vacation with everybody, and then chaos ensued. And I made the personal decision not to go anymore. And so my whole family goes, parents and all, and me and my husband and my daughter don't go because of things like this, because of family issues, house issues, things around the house at my parents' house, all this stuff, because my parents are in their mid 70s. And I can remember so vividly what it felt like. And if my husband wanted to talk, he could he could get on here and tell you how wrapped up I was in family dealings and drama, which I can now call misery. And you feel this obligation as a daughter to go help save your parents. They took care of you, and you want to make sure they're taken care of and they're healthy and their houses are healthy and all this stuff. And I used to go just kill myself cleaning and taking care of things and doing the yard work and doing the pool and making sure they had everything they needed and all these things. And when catastrophe would happen, I would be over there taking care of stuff. And then I would get just beside myself when they said things, the stuff that came out of their mouth would just crush me. And I would be like, well, I ain't going to help no more. And then some catastrophe would happen. And I'm usually the one that takes care of catastrophes. And I would have this horrible pull on, I want to go help them, but I don't, because this is what happens. And they just keep letting this happen. And it's a reoccurring thing. And you get caught in this cycle, and I can hear it in you. And the reason I'm speaking
for
is
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. It's definitely a cycle. I have stayed out of the house falling down until this flood happened.
Yeah.
That they've made their mess. They haven't asked me to help, and I didn't. But this being a disaster as it is.
So I guess I would ask you the question that I would ask me if I traded places with you, because what you're describing is so very close to the things that I have walked through. Now, it's not your situation, but it's very similar.
No,
would
I
ask,
get that. Yeah, I mean, feelings are feelings. You feel the same way about these situations.
Right.
I get that.
I guess I would ask the question that I would want someone to ask me. And that's what I like about you, because we can talk boldly to each other and we know we both can handle it. I would ask the question, if you were just an observer, what would you tell your friend that was going through this with their family?
That's where I'm hung up, because I would say you need to be there, because they are not equipped to make these decisions. Somebody needs to help them.
Okay. And if
that
your
is
friend,
what I would say. Now,
okay,
if
sure.
it was
And
now my neighbor, no, I mean, I would, whatever they do, they do. That's none of my business. It's easy for me to say if it was my neighbor, I wouldn't be involved.
okay. And if you said, go take care of that, and your friend goes, every time I do, this is what happens, how would you help them through that process?
I would say, I know, but it's your parents. You just got to suck it up, buttercup. That is what I would tell, like, my cousin, that she needed to do for her family. That is what I would say. I would have to say, you're going to have to be the bigger person, swallow your pride, get your butt over there. You can't let their house fall down. My
Okay.
neighbor, no, but my close friends, yes.
Okay. So is there a way that you can do that and still go over there without all of it sticking to you and coming home with you?
I can't. No, ma'am.
Okay. So that's where the
Yes, the imbalance is. Yes, I cannot disassociate it because of my mom's toxic, evil ways.
okay.
No, I absolutely cannot.
So hang on a second. You're either going to, it'll either be required for you to change the way you look at things, for the things to change, or the things you look at will never change.
True.
Your mom's toxic, evil ways were the best she could do.
True.
So let's not blame that anymore. That's taking that's giving yourself an out, blaming her.
Okay.
You're the one in pain right now. She's the one over there making a phone call, manipulating or doing whatever she's doing. She's playing her part in your life right now.
Yeah.
And her
Yeah,
toxic
I'm the
evil
one
ways
sitting here
are
in
the
pain.
best.
They're not hurting. They didn't, you know, they're
No, she's playing the best part. She gets an Academy Award for the evil mom. But that's her part she's playing. You still got to play your part. And your
which
part
is
either to be the good daughter, and sometimes the good daughter, sometimes the daughter takes care of parents the way you would take care of kids.
and that's where I'm at with them.
Right. So I mean, you're either going to suck it up and you're going to go over there and do it and not expect any recognition, or you're not going to do it and not be pulled into their games. Those are the two choices. There is no in between. You can't have your cake and eat it too. There is no in between. I'm speaking to you very boldly because you're a very bold and strong woman. But your mom's toxic, evil stuff, she's not toxic and evil. That's the best she could do. In comparison, yeah, she may fall short. She may not get a 4-star review as being a mom compared to other moms, but that was the best she could do. And what she's doing now is the only thing she knows to do. So
But
here's the good news.
I feel she does this intentionally so that she always comes out smelling like roses.
Sure. She's got
So
more
like my
practice.
brother and I don't talk and gang up on her and say, hey, Mom, you've got the problem. She'll say, I've got problems, but everybody else has got problems and they need to fix theirs. I don't yet.
Right.
But
The key is, hang on. The key is,
so how do I go over there and disassociate myself? That's the issue I'm having. I
So you
want
want-
to be there now, but I know that I'm the one that's going to come out hurting worse than I am now.
so if you know that going in, what would be the story to change it before you go?
It's
'Cause
not going to happen that way.
So would it be okay if you went over there and didn't get hurt?
After 52 years, it's hard to imagine that.
I know, but that's the old story. The new story, this moment, what's possibilities in the next moment that's about to come, in the moments that you go over to the house that you haven't done yet, what are the possibilities in the universe? Unlimited. Miracles can happen.
Sean, can I share something?
Sure.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Michelle. Hearing everything you're saying, it reminds me so much to my story with my dad and my stepfather, because well, you know, I already tell you guys that they raped me from the time I was 4 years old, right? All the way having sex with me until I was 14 years old. I continued with sex, right? So my whole life, I was never able, and I didn't understand why I was never able to hate them, right? So it was like real hard for me because it was a fight for me inside, saying, how can you feel like you love these people that did so much bad for you and you still there loving them? And so I was confused, right? So there was a lot of answer for that. Psychologists, psychiatrists tell me, yeah, you this, you that, whatever. But I was fighting for what I feel because they were old, right? When I was 4 years old, my father was like 60 years old. So he was an old man, right? And my stepfather too. So all my life, I saw them as old people. And the more I get older, like 15, 16, I said, gosh, they can't handle themselves. But they did these things to me. But at the same time, I look at them as old people that were getting sick, that they need my help, that this and that. So I got trapped in that they're not good for me. I never used that word before. I use that word now. They were toxic to me. But at the same time, I felt that I had to be there, and I didn't understand why, because at the end, I was their daughter. That's the dad that God gave me. And I started to get all these things inside me about like, respect your dad, respect this. So I was all confused, right? The point where I want to get is I realize this now, okay? So I don't know if this is gonna help, but I realize this now. The only reason I was there all my life, even though I felt so bad, but I feel like I have to help, I have to be there and come up with all these excuses and did it, is because I was looking for the word, I'm sorry. I was looking for that word. I'm sorry, Kayla, for what I did to you. My whole life, when they were alive, I asked them, why you did this to me, Dad? Why you did it? And he kept answering back to me, that's the way a dad loved his daughter. So I realized that wasn't, I said, God, this man's sick. But I keep being there because he got nobody, he needs somebody to help, he needs money, he needs this. And he stayed in bed like for 1 year. He died of cancer, real bad. And I was the one there the whole year with him, right? And I keep asking me why I'm hurt so much and I still here. I can't leave them. It was something inside me said, no matter what he did, you have to be there, you have to be there. The end of the story is he died. Even the same thing with my father, my stepfather died out of cancer. I was there, blah, 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 right? My dad died. Right before he died, I asked him, why you did this to me? And still the same answer. That's the way a dad loved his daughter. He died, and he never said sorry to me. Years later, while I'm going through all these things, right, I realized that the only reason I was there is because I was looking for that word that I never received. At the end, I never received that word. Now, what I realized that now is I don't feel bad that I was there now, because I say, you know what? I did my part. They played their role, whatever they felt that it was right, just like Sean said. She's playing her role. That's the role she's playing. And I said, you know what? I played my role, even though I was looking for something else. But I don't feel bad now, because I said, even though I know I was there for another reason that I never got that answer, at the end I said, you know what? Now I realize, even though I was there for that reason, I was there. And I'm sharing this with you because now I use that in my life now. I said, if I'm going to be there, and the person is doing something that I feel is toxic, either way, or I stay there knowing that it's toxic and don't complain about it, right? And have their role and I have my role. Why I want to be there? Oh, I want to be there because it's my sister. Okay, I'll be there because it's my sister. Let her play her role. I'm happy with what I'm doing, but don't let her bother me with her being her. I'm being me. So if I want to be there, I'm saying my sister because things going on, right? It used to go on, and now I understand. I say, she is my sister. I love her. I be there because this is Kayla. But whenever she started to get toxic, I say, okay, she's getting her role. Let her go in her role because she loves what she's doing and I love what I'm doing. And I don't know if this is going to help you, but at the end, what I'm trying to say is try to find there exactly if you're looking for something from her. Are you trying to hear something from her? Or that she realized to you that she's toxic? Because I bet you she's never gonna realize that, because in her world, she's doing the correct part. In her world, that's the way it's supposed to be. So if you're really there looking for something, you're never gonna get that. Be there because what you wanna be a good daughter, be there. If you were suggest that to somebody else, that's why you're doing it, because you probably will say the same thing to somebody else as an advice, but try to find if you're looking for something else, because probably you're not going to find that at the end. And that's
Thank you, Kayla, because that makes sense. And my mom has never acknowledged I've gone to college, had a good job, am I looking for her to say, yes, you are smart, you are intelligent, you know what you're talking about? Am I looking for that? That hit me hard
Michelle,
Yeah,
because they
exactly.
didn't ask me to come over and help when it flooded.
Yes. So
And it
yeah,
didn't bother me yesterday, and it didn't bother me all night. I wasn't emotional about the fact that I had decided not to go today, to just pull out. I just don't know why it's bothering me this morning.
Michelle,
and
Yes.
you know what? Yeah,
I have a couple of questions.
oh, okay. Okay. Sorry.
I have a couple of questions. Can we step out of our limitations, Michelle? When hardship comes to our door, can we grow beyond that limitation? Can we step above people's personalities? Because the Michelle that goes is like the Delia that went to rescue her parents when they were building the house, and the personalities got in the way. So did I do it perfect? No, I was just as hurt. But when I look at what I had to do, because I was in program, I knew that I had to take care of myself. So can you step out of the girl that got hurt? That's in the past and is done with. And even though it causes you misery, it also made you stronger. And you know how it made you stronger. As far as her not recognizing you, do you have other people that give you the recognition that you deserve? People can only give what they have. If they don't see themselves powerful, together, self-assured, they cannot pass that to their children. My story is a little bit different from Kayla. I did not suffer the same type of abuse, but I suffer abuse. And like they say, sin, whether it is 1 grain or a ton, is sin. So it doesn't matter what kind of abuse we suffer. Society gives labels. Now I'm going to ask you the next question because I'm practicing questions. And I'm getting emotional because I know what you're going through. Is it possible that when you go there today, or when your heart opens and you say, okay, principles are above personalities. I need to do, like you want to do, the job of a daughter, but you feel afraid that if you go, she's going to put you down again and not acknowledge you. But then again, I ask, who has to acknowledge who? Who has to acknowledge Delia? I'm going to put it on me, not on you. Who has to acknowledge Delia? Who has to make peace with the suffering that she went on, even though both parents apologized many times when I was 16? One, for being not in the family when I was very young. He was out to lunch, working and having affairs. And the other one for being extremely brutal with her punishments. And they both apologized a million times when I couldn't even remember that had gone on. So what I want to say is that during the home that they rebuilt at 75, which I wasn't in agreement, but you know what? I don't have all the answers, because at the end, it was a good decision that they did. And when they called me in to help them, and then they took me out of the equation like they have done with you, I had to step out and say, well, they wanted my help. They got the little bit of help that they could use. And now I have to give them the space and the freedom until they call me again, and they can do the rest of the situation with the adjuster on their own, or find somebody else that they can feel more reassured of what they're doing, because I tend to see things ahead of time and they weren't ready. But I did some help, and you have done too, by telling them that there's mold. Now it's on their core and their decision. It's like when you talk to a prospect and you say, look, here's what I have. It is a dream of a business. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what I have. However, if the person says, you know what, you paint such a beautiful picture that I don't deserve to get that yet. And that's what's happening, I think.
Thank you, Delia, because yeah, that's how I feel.
So, like, don't rush. I would say, this is what I say to myself. Don't rush the action. It takes time for us to mature. See the event as an obstacle that you have to overcome to heal the hurt from the past, not as an attack from her to you, because that's not what it is. What it is that's whoever she's been all her life. She's done the best that she can. That's the way that we all do this. We act the way that we are. And can you step above all that and say, wow, after listening to this call, let me write down all the things that can come good out of this. Unconditional love, unconditional help, not becoming a mat, just assisting when they open the door to me, just like you do with a prospect. If they don't say hello, you can't communicate with them. If she doesn't call and say, look, Michelle, I need you here. And don't overdo anything. Don't do anything, because you and I are problem solvers in our families. I'm also the oldest.
Yes, but you nailed that.
When I came to this country, I learned English first because I studied English in Cuba, and I became their ambassador. And I became the problem solver for everything. Even when the family grew to a third child, I was 17, my sister was born. So I was like a sister to my mom in a lot of ways, or her mother, because she lost her mother at 14. I actually was like her mother. So when I look back, I say, well, how did I grow out of that role of being the victim daughter? Because what was done, is past. I can't change my past. I can only grow from the emotional abuse that I suffer and physical abuse. I can only grow out of that. And I was a better mother with my kids. Not perfect, but better. I didn't use physical punishment. I didn't use emotional punishment. So I became a better mother because of the hardship.
And that makes sense for me to wait, because like when she called this morning, she said, I'm going to miss you. She didn't say, hey, I need your help. So and I need to take care of me first. I mean, I have to.
The question is, why rush to turn off the fire when you're not really a fireman? You are her daughter. Why don't you turn the fire off inside you first so you can be calm and relaxed? Give yourself time. What happens is when you're ready to go, the fear, the hurt, God will dissipate all that, and you're going to go in there in service just to assist in what they're able to receive. No less, no more, in God's intention.
That makes sense.
I love you, Michelle, and I love you, Kayla.
I love you both, because both of those really gave me a different viewpoint to look at it from.
So now here's the great news. You've got new viewpoints. They seem to make sense. They seem to correlate with a desire you want. Here's the hard part. Are you going to use them?
Yes. I'm
If
I'm
you use them, the old
I'm
story's gone.
I'm not going over there. I don't currently, after Kayla and Delia said those things. Um, I currently don't feel bad about not being there. They have any questions, they can call me.
Yep. The insurance guy can call you, whatever. Your phone will ring.
Yeah,
and
he
you'll
already has
answer.
my number anyway. So,
Yeah.
I wasn't asked to come help anyway and solve their problem.
Right.
So,
They just said they'll miss you. That's manipulation. So just know that it is what it is.
yeah, yeah. And I have to take care of me first. Like, and I feel now after hearing these things, if I cannot go over there and disassociate that old story, then I have no business being over there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well, it's like an addict.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I
And
got these new
and
friends.
right now
They live in a crack house. I got these new friends. They live in a crack house. I'm gonna hang out with them, but I'm promised I won't do drugs or go down
yeah,
that bad path.
exactly. Exactly.
You doesn't mean you have to love her any less. Doesn't mean whatever it is coming from her to you is not your choice. Epictetus said, "Control what's within your circle of influence." She, the house, ain't none of that in your circle of influence.
Very true. Very true. It's not right here in front of me, so
No, but what is right in front of you are the tears that were running down your face as close as your skin. The answer is as close as your skin.
yeah.
Hearing the conversations from Kayla, hearing somebody else's pain, hearing the conversation from Delia, hearing somebody else's pain. It's like nobody understands what I'm going through. They don't even know what you're going through. You have no idea what they went through.
Exactly.
But all of a sudden we feel we're in the pool together, and the temperature of the water's the same pain. And so,
Yeah.
well, they understand me. Ain't nobody understand nobody.
Exactly. Exactly.
So here's the question for you. And here's what I would ask you to meditate on, to start to swim in the sauce that is called you. This level of calmness that exists right now, it's maybe not at the ultimate calm, but this level of decision making and calmness that exists right now, where was it an hour ago? Where
Before
did it?
before my mom called, it was here.
Well, no, but
When my mom called,
where's
it
it always?
just
Listen
totally.
to me. Listen to me.
Okay.
Where's it always resided? Where did you pulled
Inside
it up?
me.
Yes, exactly. And so right now you're in this level of calm. Where's the level of misery that was just 30 minutes ago? Where does that reside?
Outside.
Inside. No, that resides inside of you as well. All of this is inside of you. Everything you ever want is inside of you. You're the one that chooses what comes to the surface.
I chose to allow that old story to creep back in.
Yep. Because
when she called, it distracted me and triggered me.
Yep, because there's a phrase that you share with, I say the young girls because we're closer in age than they are. When you share with the kids, what have you not let go?
Yeah.
Yeesh. I love you.
No, I mean, I knew the old story was creeping up. I mean, I
Right.
knew, and it was a distraction this week. I mean, I knew it. When it came, I was aware of what it was. But I'm like, how do I get past it? It's like smacked me in the face hard. It wasn't soft. It was like a blow.
Well, that's because what happens when we stretch a rubber band is that
Yeah,
it builds up the kinetic energy, the potential energy, and it comes back fast.
And that's exactly what this felt like.
Right. So here it is. Look at the dates, May 2nd to July 2nd.
Yeah.
July 4th for all intents and purposes, but July 2nd.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 60 days of freedom.
Yeah.
May, June. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
60 days of freedom, and it came back. This is how it always goes. And I'm letting everybody else, I'm giving everybody else fair warning.
Yes.
That's inside the secret sauce. When we say that we've broken free, unless you've had some form of lobotomy, it is still there. And it's running at a subconscious level behind the scenes. It's kind of like one of those horror movies where everybody's in the forest and you hear a twig snap, but you can't see it. And and the shadow disappears behind the tree before the actor looks. I'm just telling you, it's coming. The question is what can you do before it gets there and punches you in the nose?
Well, I can tell them to be aware, be on the lookout, just always be in a state of awareness.
And as you become aware of it, you can start to laugh about it. That's the thing. We all of a sudden, if we knew what we know.
Yeah, don't let it hurt you. Don't let it smack you in the face.
Yeah, exactly. So the challenge is that people say, well, I'm stronger than that. You had it for 50 years. 60 days is nothing.
Exactly.
60 days is nothing. I've been working on this for 30 years. Well, now everybody's like, oh crap, I may as well just go crawl in a coffin. No.
No, don't do that, because the good feeling is good enough that you appreciate. Oh, it definitely. For y'all that are waiting on the shoe to drop, it's okay. You'll get through it. It's not as bad as what I went through on May 2nd to release it. Right. I will tell you that. Will tell you that. Well, it's you feel so good for so long.
It's only been a week of the suffering beginning and then, escalating and crescendoing here to yesterday.
Yeah.
It's not been 52 years of pain. It's been a week. And it'll come and go.
It smacks hard though.
Well, it does. And it does when we keep turning around and we keep going, no, and we're expecting them to change. The only one that can change is us.
Sean, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
When I get in trouble with parents or anybody else, what I'm seeing more and more is my old story, putting the resistance over things that I have no authority or control of. If I can look at that in that objective manner, I totally am able to step out of that role.
But you do have authority. That's the problem.
Well, authority over their decisions.
No, you don't. No, you only have authority over what?
Over me.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is when I feel miserable in a relationship with another human being, is because my resistance, instead of focusing it on me to be calm, I am trying to fix their puzzles, thinking that I'm going to feel better. And I don't do this on a conscious level, like you said. I do it automatically because it's what I've been doing for 66 years.
Right.
So
and you do it. But you do it because of what?
The old story.
Because of a pattern.
A pattern.
Right. So how do you recognize the pattern sooner? See, before you go into misery, there's discomfort. And before there's discomfort, there's awareness.
Yes.
So how do you adjust it in awareness?
Now, if I see that I'm feeling terrible, instead of looking around me to blame for the cause, it usually resides in the fact that without me knowing, the control freak inside Delia is trying to fix the outside to justify my misery inside, which I have, because we all have misery and joy inside, like you said.
Right. But here's my question for you.
Okay.
What if the control freak was controlling joy and wouldn't let a level 10 joy go away? Why is it always got to be negative for all of us?
Exactly.
I realize I'm terrible. When I realize I'm hurting, nobody says, the second I felt a little less joy, I changed it. What if we look at things a little bit different?
And that's what I want to get to where I can have this awareness, spot it sooner, get out of the for me, visually, I'm thinking, get out of the situation and not allow myself to get snapped.
Michelle, you're there. You did it today.
Oh, I know, but I went through a lot of pain to get to it. I should have held strong to what I was thinking and feeling yesterday.
Exactly what you were supposed to do, Michelle.
I didn't choose joy this morning. I chose misery, by golly.
So here's the lesson, everybody. Here's the lesson. And Michelle, thank you for sharing. And Ericka, thank you for sharing your story of joy, of gratitude. And here's the thing, from July 1st to today, we individually in our own worlds, that's why I say there is no economy, there is no world out there, there's only your world and your economy. And your mental profits is what decides whether you become rich or not so rich. And the fact that Michelle could go through this misery and none of us were affected by it until we found out about it. The fact that Ericka could go through this joy and hear that she got affected by meditation, by sitting still, and all of a sudden the world unfolds to herself. She gets a double paycheck, all of this stuff. I'm going to encourage you, what's about to happen in the world that we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg is people are going to be diving into the misery pool. It's just, it's human nature is happening. It's already happening. The conversations I'm having with leaders and hearing what's happening in their organizations and hearing this untold level of dialogue that they need to have that they're not equipped for. These leaders are not equipped for. They're not. The story they told on January 1 isn't going to work on July 4th. It's not. Because the pain is too big. The suffering is too great. People will show up. Listen, they've been masking it for years. Do you think a little COVID and a little pandemic and a little out of a job is going to mask what they've had? Could you imagine how this has nothing to do? This is nothing compared to the story of Kayla for 10 years, 11 years, a pandemic. I would love to have had a pandemic instead of going what I went through. What each of you who are on this call right now are being tasked with, being in this community, is to find out how much joy can you have. And there's a part of you that says, well, I don't deserve that. The only one that can deserve it is you. And the second you dive into that joy, you will begin to be able to spread it. You are either the cure or the dis-ease. And if your body is not at ease, you are the dis-ease. This is part of, again, what we're talking about in Secret Sauce. This is really about personal accountability. But if I called it that, nobody would sign up for that. Secret Sauce sounds fun. It sounds sexy. It sounds cool. But personal accountability and mental toughness, you got to be insane to sign up for that. Who wants to go be responsible for themselves when I can point my finger every place else and say they're not doing it? This is only about you doing what you can do. Go ahead, Ericka.
Hello, I'm back. Michelle, thank you so much for sharing. I just want to say, I look up to you a lot as a strong, poised, beautiful woman who's, full of so much valuable insight. And so it was really nice to see a little vulnerable piece of yourself today that I actually relate to a lot. And I think it kind of ties into everything. I just want to share what I wrote down real quick while I was listening to you. I'm realizing that the further down this road of personal development that we travel, there's always new levels of ourselves that's waiting to be unlocked. And it seems like the deeper that you go, the harder the challenge becomes. Even the most seemingly composed individual holds on to some sort of pain. Pain is inevitable. It's a necessary evil, but we can't allow it to become a form of self-induced poison. I'd bet on the fact that the same type of chemical reaction that's produced by love is produced by pain, and that can be addicting. In the end, once we have to make a decision to live for our divine purpose and not to be an instrument in someone else's old story. We search so hard for others' approval, whether we realize it or not, and that sets us up for toxic attachments, which leads us to not feeling good enough, which leads to self-doubt and stress, leading to disease. I'm so thankful that I've been able to start to break out of my old story and the old cycle of self-destruction at the hands of others. We have to learn to love ourselves and accept our whole self. That way we don't depend on another's approval to feel good or satisfied. So I think a lot of times we are an instrument in someone else's old story. you know? And so while it's painful, because oftentimes it's someone that we love and we care for, and we don't want them to go down this path of self-destruction, you know, like you see the house is falling apart and you can see it, you know, but almost they don't. Or, you know, your mom's old story, you become that instrument for it. And so we have to learn to decide to not do that anymore. And so, you know, with that experience that I had with that visit from my higher self, I keep saying, I can't wait to see her again. I can't wait to see her again. And like, I have to realize she's right here. She's right here in me when I look in the mirror, you know? And so if you think about, if maybe you were to talk to yourself from your higher self position right now, would you give yourself a hug? Would you say, Michelle, like, you've done so much, girl. Like, you rock that degree. You have an amazing business. Like, you are a loving, caring, genuine person. Like, it's okay. Wipe your tears. Would you say that to yourself? You know, I hope so. You know, and so, yeah, I love this conversation. I'm so glad that I got to hear, you know, that vulnerability in you. And I love, again, witnessing the shift from the beginning, because you helped me do that as well, where I'm just in shambles and in tears. And then at the end, you know, you feel good again. But one more thing I just wanted to ask for Rhonda, if you would get a hold of me, because while I was meditating, one of the things that also I've been really wanting to do for a long, long time is to get better and to get healthy, and to lose weight and get in shape and things like that. And so it was really funny, because in the middle of my meditation, I said, message Rhonda, get a hold of her. And then it was share everything with Sean. So yeah, Rhonda, if we could just get in touch, then I definitely want to join up with you guys. And yeah, thanks for allowing me to share. Sean, I love you guys. Michelle, everybody. Hope
Love
you guys
you
have
as
a
well.
blessed day.
Appreciate you. So
Love you, Ericka.
here's the key. We witnessed an unfolding, right? We witnessed strength. We witnessed misery. We witnessed joy. We witnessed community. We witnessed the ability for somebody to pull themselves through a challenge, the courage it takes to talk about the challenge. So imagine this. We're working on this on a daily basis. Daily basis.
Bonus time. I agree with Leo. Bonus.
Yeah. In this moment, we have the opportunity to make a choice. And it's difficult when we see people who have made the choice to joy go back to misery. There's a part of us is like, how is that possible? It's extraordinarily possible, because the choice needs to be made when? In every moment. And just like misery can compound, and Einstein said it's the eighth wonder of the world, the seventh wonder of the world, compounding effect, so can joy compound. Bad habits are hard to break. So are good habits are hard to break. What you choose on this day, when we see somebody as strong as Michelle, to see her traverse that trail of challenge, of misery, and to all be lumped into that, to say, oh, I had problems with my mom too. And all of a sudden, this is the challenge with being a mentor, is to let their misery stay with them and not run down their leg across the floor and up yours. And before the two of you are done, the conversation you're having with your team, your prospect, or anybody is you're in a comparison mode of how crappy life is. Michelle was strong enough to know that she could come here and say, I need a little bit of help. We're strong enough to sit here and say, we're going to listen. We can only give advice from our experience. What if we gave suggestions, ideas? Maybe, quite possibly, what if it was this? Because the second we start telling our story of what makes us qualified to give advice, all of a sudden we're in a comparison game. They can't listen to the advice, they can only listen to your story. And they go, oh, so they understand me. So they should, this is happening at a subconscious level. So they should agree with my pain. That's the only reason the pain showed up, is so that hopefully somebody would agree with it. When you sit and listen and you have a conversation, the second we start to throw our story into it to validate, it brings up a whole new set of dialogues. And part of the conversation might be for us to remind ourselves how we got out of it so we don't fall back in. I would encourage you, as you're listening to the next prospect, to people on your team, as they sit in their misery and they sit in their pain, to just stay focused on their conversation. When you do that, their answer will arrive, because what happens is that when we're in a state of pain, when we're in a state of hurt, what's the easiest thing for us to do? Want to go help somebody else. And when two people of similar mindsets get together, what's that phrase? Something loves company. So does joy. Joy loves company. Yeah, but if I'm in joy and they're not, I feel bad that I'm in joy. I don't want to make them feel worse. Not my problem. Not my job. Not my monkeys, not my zoo. Not my barrel. And when you begin to sit in that place of love, of gratitude, you can start to hear the story. Because the first challenge that happens is that I know exactly where they're at. I know exactly their pain. I've had a similar situation. This is a mentorship moment. This is an inside. This is a certification moment for you to have dialogue with people. Now, for many, it may skip right across the water like a stone. For some of you, it may sink in because some of you are ready for it. When we have this conversation, of wanting to support somebody, wanting to help somebody who's in the middle of a fire, our fire doesn't matter one damn bit. It just doesn't. They don't care about our fire. Yeah, but I want them to know I know their pain. They don't care if you know their pain. Listen, the splinter in your eye ain't, the splinter in their eye hurts them more than the plank in yours. I love that we had this opportunity to have this conversation. And I love the responses that were given. The part that prolongs it, that drags it out, is trying to say you're qualified to have a conversation. You're qualified to have had the similar pain. Nobody gives a rat's butt about your pain, I promise you. They tell you they do. They don't. But what if you show up? What if you show up in pure love? What if you say things like, I hear you, I feel you, I've had similar situations, but right now, what do we do to help with your fire? I've got a bucket of love. Where do you want me to throw it? And the challenge is how long can we stay in our state of love? Misery and joy, whether we're standing in the middle of misery or we're standing in the middle of joy, which one do we stand in? It's the only thing they want, whoever is in pain when we have a conversation with them, is one of two things. They either want more of it or less of it. That's the conversation. And Michelle made the decision. Not one of us, not one of our stories, not one of our conversations, not one of our texts, not one of our moments of love, not one of our moments of recognition of her made a difference. Follow me. Until she made the decision to cut off the old story. See, this is when I talk about life on installment plans. The 60 days of joy, the 60 days of gratitude, the 60 days of love that she walked into from May 2nd to July 2nd. Just got a little checkbox in it, got a little withdrawal out of it. Because at a subconscious level, the body is not wired. What you heard is the tear, the pain, the frustration. But I can tell you, there's parts of her body that were wrecked. This is a detoxing. All of this resides in the body, not in the brain. There's no pain endings in the brain. So as we sit through this master class that you just witnessed today, of conversations, of humanity, of reality, you were put here because only you can deal with this now going forward. You are going to sit there. You are going to hear this 1,001 times. This challenge that we're hearing, we ain't nowhere near out of this. We ain't nowhere near out of this. So part of this is not you putting up a wall, but having a filter around you that says nothing gets in unless it turns into love. Those rose-colored glasses, this isn't to see utopia. This is to see reality. But you know you can look out there and see all of the joy. You can see all of the misery. You can see all of the pain. But when it gets to you, it's got to turn into joy, because how are you going to do anything? How is it possible that this amazing young woman starts writing in a journal and she gets an extra page and all of the world just dumps it in her? What does it say in Think and Grow Rich? When the universe starts to deliver to you everything it can deliver to you, you'll wonder where it was in all of the lean times. Folks, we're heading into some lean times for the majority of the people out there. And the other shoe will drop. I just hope it's a feather slipper and you don't even hear it. Because it's coming for you. It is coming for you. With all of the meanness and frustration and aggravation and all of the conflict, it is coming for you. Are you going to be prepared and go, oh, so that's what it looks like? Oh, be damn. I didn't know it was going to look that ugly. How cool is that? That thing's got 4 heads and 1 eye. And soon as it shows up at your front door, when fear and doubt knock on your door, you better damn well be ready to answer with what? Faith and courage. Because once you open the door, ain't nothing gonna be there. So that's how I'd leave you this day. On this day of independence. Michelle took back her independence. She probably would have rather fought spaceships of aliens, right? Because it would have kept her busy. The challenge with this internal independence that we look for, that we strive for, that we literally fight for, is that we're fighting ourselves, and nobody wants to fight ourselves. It's kind of like watching, anybody ever see Liar Liar with Jim Carrey? And he's got to take the 5 minute from the break. Your Honor, we got to go to the bathroom. And he beats himself up in the bathroom, right, to try to delay the trial. That's all we keep doing. We keep beating ourselves up. And we can't lie to ourselves. That's why we go, oh, I know the truth, but let me shove it down farther. It's not that you don't know the truth. You're just trying not to see it. Life sucks or it doesn't. That's it, period. End of story. If you had the chance with what you know now, every one of you, with what you know now, would you have carried around the pain and the suffering that you've carried around? What honor has it brought you? What cross are you now able to say, listen, can you go to the bank with this pain? Yeah, but Sean, you don't know. It's easy. You're lucky. I promise you don't want my story. I promise you don't want my story. Just like I don't want yours. It's time for you to make the decision. And the decision is very simple, misery or joy. And I love that. We will complicate the hell out of a 3-bean recipe. Why? Well, what kind of beans? How old are the beans? Well, what do you use? Canned? Do you use fresh? Do you peel the beans? Do you shuck the beans? Do you peel each bean inside? What temperature is that? It's a 3-bean salad. You like it? Don't like it? That's what I got. I put my name on the bowl so that when it's empty, I can get it back. That's all I care. I'm going to the potluck. And what are you showing up to the potluck with? What are you showing up with? And are you dipping in other people's misery? Oh, wow, they got a pile of shit over there. Let me just dip into that. Oh, my God, how did they make the... Why do you keep loading your plate up? Oh, let me taste this. Oh, my God, that's awful. You should try this. What? That's a thing guys do. Oh, my God, that stinks. You smell this. Come over here, smell this. We're allowed to like give each other like one smell, one like gag smell a month. Oh God, you got to smell this. No, what? Stick your head in that gym bag. Oh my God. We do that every day with social media and our stories. Take care of you. Yeah, but people are going to get mad that I'm taking care of me. That's their part in the play. Give them a frickin' Academy Award and get on with your life. What are you waiting for? There's nobody out there. There's no somebody on a white horse going to ride in. You already have them, the warrior, the sovereign, the lover, and the magician. Poof your ass to death today and get the hell out of the problem. That's easy to say because nobody's going to say it to you. We want to make this arduous. We want to make it difficult. We want to drag this out. You're going to laugh at it 6 months from now. What the heck are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? Whose story, what author, what director do you need approval from for the script called Your Life? Ain't you it? In this moment, you have a choice, misery or joy. In the moment that's about to come, what is the possibility about what's about to come? Unlimited. And you're gonna minimize it to some ethereal task that was already done? I planted seeds out in the garden. You know how long I'm sitting over them going, what? I planted you 4 months ago. Why aren't you showing up? You're supposed to show up. The seeds were bad. The birds will get some. The birds will get some. I planted radishes. They look like toothpicks. Anybody, is there a radish out there that's a toothpick radish? Because they're red and about that long. They haven't gotten fat. What the hell is that? I've never seen a toothpick radish. Anybody know what a toothpick radish is? They haven't gotten any fat on them. They've got long and they got the little white root. And if you bite it, it tastes like a radish, a toothpick radish. I don't know what the hell they are, but they're all grown. They got leaf, man. They look good on the surface. How many of us are great leafy greens on the surface, but we're toothpicks when it comes to the meat? Because I love big fat radishes. I got toothpick radishes. Oh, well, then what do you do? Like, well, don't pick another one because they're growing. I haven't picked another one. But I bet if I go out there and pick it, it'd be like, what the heck? What kind of variety of thing is this? We got one heirloom tomato out there. It looks like one of the what were those black things that flew around in Harry Potter? What were those things called? They might be greens, Diane. They could just be radish greens. But what were those things called? The black things that hover and suck the life out of everything. What were they called? Because that thing came by. Well,
Dementor.
Dementors. So we got a tomato plant out there that dementors hover over. The tomatoes look like three witches need to come by and be throwing them in a cauldron and going, fair is foul and foul is fair. Hover in the fog and filthy air. This is your Independence Day. Every day is your Independence Day. Do they have a July 4th in Europe? Well, yeah. People go, no, that's only America. No, every day is your Independence Day. I'm honored that we have the chance to show up and serve each other. I'm going to ask you, in the best way of service to serve each other is to serve, not justify your conversation. Yeah, but listen, I understand your pain, but here's my pain. Let me tell you why I can give you some guidance. We can't. When I take people through the mental prophets certification, when you start to listen to it, one of the hardest things to do is to sit and listen and not go, oh my God, I know exactly where they're at. You have no idea where they're at. We just don't. When you sit across from a prospect, the next time you sit across from a prospect, you have no idea because you don't know the whole story. You only know your story. So as you sit with this conversation and as you sit with this master class that Michelle led us in, she led us into this master class of being able to sit here and in an hour, in less than 90 minutes, take what was a level 10, because she was more emotional in these dialogues than on May 2nd. May 2nd was a bigger release and she didn't have much to say, but it was totally a different level of emotion. But this was a level 10, we're at DEVCON 4. There's a nuclear accident. There's planes in the air right now getting ready to drop bombs. Somebody better figure out how to turn them around. Yet none of us get the badge of nice job. We get the badge of showing up because we didn't do anything. Words do not teach. Words do not teach. They were enough of a distraction for Michelle to remember her own great story. And that's all we can do is help people remember. My job is to talk you out of your success. That's it. That's all I can do. My job is to talk you out of your success. Because the level of success you're at right now isn't where you want to get to. Fair enough? Tough kick in the chops, but where you're at right now ain't where you want to get to. So I have to talk you out of where you're at. I can't talk you out of where you're at by comparison because now we both go roll around with the pigs and we're going. In order to elevate, you have to stay elevating. You have to stay in a mindset because it will drag you down. It will beat you up. It will pull you in and you won't even know it. It is vicious. Just the exact same way as when somebody walks in a room, you go, who's that? Who is that? Oh my gosh. I want to be around them. Right now, I'm telling you, where the world is going, where the energy is going, we need you. I need you. I need you in this army. I need you as this army of joy, of this thing going, hey, it's okay. How could you say it's okay? These people are marching there and they're through doing this and they won't pay attention to anybody. Oh my gosh. And now what? Oh, well, you're just disconnected from society. You're damn right. Because if anybody thinks that that's good, that that's normal, we got more work to do. I am going to beat you until you love me. Okay, how's that work? I'm going to step on your throat till you say, thank you. So I'm in awe of every one of you. I'm in joy that I get to be on your team. This is your moment to literally change the world. And if you start with yours, things like what happened for Michelle and through Michelle can happen globally. You change yours. You stay in your state. Listen, vibration is vibration. The sun ain't shining today going, I'm only going to shine on nice people today. Your joy doesn't have to be distributed among good people. Just let it go. And when you stay in your joy of service, but Michelle, they feel your pain because it's a vibration. You can mask it. You're pretty good at masking it, but it's there. It's the essence. And today we felt it. We heard it. And then when you started to step out of it, everybody felt the shift in your vibration. So misery or joy. Rhonda, any last words?
No, that whole misery or joy will kick you square in the pants. It really will. I told Sean last night, I think I know why a lot of my friends that don't pursue this type of learning and growth don't like me anymore. Because they'll message me and they'll complain about something and I'll write back to them, you're wrestling with a social media post, choose joy or choose misery. And they don't really like that. But I also have to do necessary measures for me not to get stuck in their misery or in their ugh, and for me to remain in my joy. So there's going to be times where it's going to be really uncomfortable until it's not, to just have to say that and move on until I grow more and I'm able to sit in there conversing long enough to find a moment to where they'll give me a chance to help them out of that misery if they choose to venture out of it. So I sit here and listen to all this, and it identifies in me places of growth where I need to learn how to be able to listen to my friends longer, to be able to see if they're looking for a way out, or if they don't even know that there's a way out and there could be a way out and I could provide that for them. Not the way out, but how to find the way out and how to go down that. That's all I can provide. I can't make them go down it. I can't shove them down it. I can't do any of that, but I can show them glimpses in their conversation when they have them, and learn to help them identify the moment where they could release more if they choose to do so. So this conversation has served me to just remember it's a choice. We all have a choice. And I cannot be responsible for your choices. And I don't want to be responsible for your choices, because sometimes they're very different than my choices. And I don't necessarily want what comes along with other people's choices. and however, I want to learn how to better sit with people who choose a path that I wouldn't choose, and to be able to sit in joy and in peace while they go down their choice. And that will serve me well. That will serve me in being a better friend, a better mother, a better wife, a better daughter, a better aunt. It'll serve me in every way. So just sitting over here listening and soaking it in, and having moments to where I roll my eyes, and moments where I grit my teeth, and moments where I giggle, and moments where I'm like, oh, golly. So it's been good. It's been a good morning. So there you go.
Cool. Hey, I want to check in on Riley real quick. How'd it go last night, Riley?
Oh yeah.
It was amazing. I actually am doing a training now on Sunday too. So I'm running a first training. Yeah.
So how do you feel?
Accomplished. Silly for being so nervous, but
But that's the part. So here's what I need you to do, Riley. Do you journal?
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Did you journal how that statement that you just said and expand on it? The anticipation of not being able to do it, that what you thought you weren't qualified or ready for, or you thought you might mess up, was so amazing. They asked you to do another one on Sunday.
Yeah.
I need you to, I really need you, Riley, to go through that transition. And I need you to try to figure out, when did you know that you knew you were doing it better than you thought you knew you could do?
Okay.
Follow me. Because up until the call started, your butterflies were going like crazy, right?
Yeah.
The second it started, they were still crazy because you're now your brain's running, your neural pathways are running at 9 million miles a second, and you're trying to connect everything, because your brain does it, women's brain does it so much more crazier than ours. We're like, nothing. So at some point during the course of the evening or during your opening presentation, maybe until you're even, and it wasn't until somebody messaged you and said, this is great. It wasn't maybe until somebody said, even in the chat, oh, this is incredible. At some point you got confirmation that you were better than you thought you were.
Yeah.
That is going to be the key. You've now gone from the 97%er to the 3%er. And you're going to start to say things like, I know I was scared, just do it. That's going to be the biggest kick in the gut to anybody, because they think you've got something special. They don't remember, they don't know the story of prior to the moment the transition happened, that please do a call on Sunday.
Yeah.
If you can remember that, Riley, you can stay in the 3% crowd and still speak to the 97%ers, because they can't hear, oh, you just got to do it. I was scared, you do it. They can't hear that. That's all we kept telling you, right?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that A, congratulations. B, try to define that moment. And it might have been a comment in the chat. It could have been a phone call, a text message somewhere, something on IG. You know, it really hit me. It really hit me when I got this one message. Because up until that moment, even after it was done, I was still nervous. I don't know if I performed.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, absolutely. I get what you're saying. So like, just determine that spot, that thing that kind of made it click.
Right, because what we talked about, remember, you pushed off 12 years of hockey to not talk about it. I didn't think it was important. That's 12 years of your life. This was 10 minutes of your life. You know how unimportant this is compared to 12 years of hockey?
Yeah.
But this is a turning point. This is where teachers and mentors, they fail miserably in getting you to find this moment. Because the second you find this moment, that moment, because now you can't go back. But the challenge is we never go back to find where was that turning point. Because now, if you find that right now in the next hour, you dive in and you really dive in and you look at it and you go back to the feelings. You go, oh, it was when so-and-so sent me a message. It was when, because how did you receive the information where they asked you to do the call on Sunday? Was it via text? Was it a call?
Yeah, they in the group chat, they asked about me doing a training.
They didn't even call you. You get that? They sent it in a text, in a chat, in a text.
Yeah.
A text in a chat. It was so overwhelming, they couldn't wait to call you. They couldn't wait to ask you. They just typed in the chat, oh, we need this. Do you see how your energy rippled and radiated?
Yeah, I think I kind of got like you guys helped me in the morning. I spent the whole day just kind of trying to like stay excited rather than nervous. And it kind of helped keep my energy high. I was in such a good mood all day after the call, so.
Oh, well, let's see if we can't kick that out of you. So here's my point, Riley. Whenever you doubt, because you're just going to go through plateaus now, right? You know that.
Yeah.
And there's going to be the next one, you're going to be a little bit more nervous, and you're going to be nervous, but it'll be at a different level. And You got to go back to this moment.
Yeah.
Because this is the one that turned it all. This is the one that gave you your ability. This is the one that gave you the chance to say, I can do it. And everybody in your team and everybody in your organization wants to know that secret sauce. If you could bottle up the 10 minutes before and the 10 minutes after you got that notion, you'll be at 7 figures before the end of the year. It's that critical. I know it sounds, I finally agreed with it. Too many people can't agree. And where we're going as a global community is more people are going to find a way to not agree with your success.
Yeah.
So I applaud you. I'm like overly ecstatic. That's why I really want to dig this in, because 12 years of hockey, well, I don't know if I should talk about that. This 10-minute little transition that happened in your life has happened thousands of times. I want you to remember this one because it'll serve you in this profession more than your hockey does. Your hockey gives you, oh my gosh, she doesn't look like she's got all bumps and bruises. But this one people can relate to because everybody wants to be able to get onto a Zoom and do what you did. They're just nervous as hell.
Yeah.
You can now talk them through that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. From literally getting out of all of my presentations throughout high school. I got through high school without doing any presentations in front of the classes. So it's literally been years since I've spoken in front of like a big group of people.
Yep.
So yeah.
So congratulations. Hats off to you.
Thank you
Love
very
you
much.
for it, and thanks for making the world a better place, because now you get to take not only your experience, not only your beauty, not only your scaredness, not only your joy, but you now get to teach at a whole nother level that you weren't capable of doing before that call yesterday.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for all of your help and encouragement.
Awesome sauce. And who's loving Gigi's head over there? That's just like chocolate whipped cream. Look at that up there. All right, y'all. You go have some independence. Stay safe. Be good. Be good to yourself. Thank you for letting me pour into you, and thank you for pouring into my world. I'm Sean Murphy. You're a head misfit. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event. Sean, go
the
enjoy
next
your
event.
vacation.
Thank you.
I
I'll see you
love
tomorrow
guys.
morning. I don't know where we're at on the road, but tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. I don't miss.
See you guys later. Love you.
Bye. Love you guys.
Bye, bye, bye,
Thank
bye.
you.
I love you.
Happy 4th, everybody. Take care. Love you.
I just
Mwah.
learned. I got
All
a
the best.
whole bunch of ahas.
Happy 4th.